Hello, this is the 253rd edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from a book written by Trent Wilde entitled The Mosaic Torah. Starting near the bottom of page 8 we read, "Furthermore, the Torah claiming Mosaic authorship on behalf of these documents is not the same as them claiming it for themselves, nor is the act of making a claim equal to showing that the claim is true." At the beginning of this article, we asked a few questions like, did Moses write the Torah? And is the traditional view right? Or is modern scholarship correct in its rejection of it? We now have our answer. Moses did not write the Torah. The traditional view is not right, and modern scholarship is correct in rejecting the Mosaic authorship of the Torah. Footnote number 2. The exact starting and ending points of some of these quotes are debated. For example, one could argue that the first document in this list starts with Exodus 20 verse 22 rather than 21 verse 2. In any case, the possibilities are not far off from each other. Mosaic indeed. Now that we have seen clear evidence that the Torah was not written by Moses, we are left with a few questions. Who did write the Torah? As is so often the case with important questions, the answer is somewhat of a paradox. How so, you ask? Well, modern scholarship has demonstrated that the Torah is Mosaic after all. No, not in the sense that it was written by Moses, but in that the process of its composition resembles in some ways the making of mosaic art. When an artist creates a mosaic, he or she often starts with several masses of raw source material, usually tile, stone, or glass, which differ from each other in their color. Each of the variously colored source materials are then broken up into smaller pieces so that they can be artistically arranged with the pieces of other colors. Thus, the artist is able to create a picture which goes beyond the scope of possibilities of any one material while retaining much of each source, if even in pieces. When it comes to the Torah, the source material is not tile or stone or different colors. It is literature. Different compositions from different authors with different perspectives. To be more exact, scholars over the past few hundred years have discovered that the Torah was compiled from 4 main literary sources, each of which were originally separate documents, along with several smaller literary fragments. These sources were broken up into sections, which were then arranged together, thus creating a new work, a new picture. In principle, this isn't too far-fetched, especially since we know this sort of process to have occurred with other writings in the Bible. Case in point, the story of David and Goliath. The story of David and Goliath is found in the book of 1 Samuel, which is known to us in 2 different versions. The most popular version today is preserved in a group of manuscripts known as the Mosaic text, or MT for short. The other is preserved in a Greek translation of an underlying Hebrew text and is part of a family of Greek manuscripts known as the Septuagint, or LXX 70. These two versions are similar enough that they are clearly both 1 Samuel, but they differ enough in their wording and content that they must be considered two different versions. Footnote number 3 here says, this is based on the tradition that the Septuagint was produced by a group of 70 or 72 translators. When it comes to the story of David and Goliath, these two versions differ substantially. Virtually all the content of the version preserved in the LXX is found in the MT, but the MT also contains a great deal of content found only in it. Careful analysis has revealed that the LXX version and the content found only in the MT were originally two separate literary works, each telling the story of David and Goliath in their own unique ways. The LXX preserves one of those literary works on its own, which we'll call DG, and the MT represents the combined version of both literary works. When you subtract those parts of the MT which find a parallel in the LX, the remaining material is the other literary work, DG2. The development of these texts is shown in the following illustration. Preserved in the LX, DG1, preserved in DG2 from the MT, not in the LX, and they both come to make up what was called the Masoretic text. It must be kept in mind that this picture does not represent a mere speculation or regarding the development of these texts. It represents a series of developments we actually know to have happened because we have the manuscripts which demonstrate it. Footnote number 4, see the Greek and Hebrew Bible collected essays on the Septuagint, pages 333 to 362 by Emmanuel Tov. Number 5, footnote, DG for David and Goliath. Number 6, footnote, more precisely representatives of these manuscripts. It is not possible to include all the manuscripts. For the LXX, we here use the Lexham English Septuagint, which is based on the Old Testament in Greek according to the Septuagint, a critical edition put together by Henry Barclay Sweet, which makes use of many LXX manuscripts. For the MT, we here use the Lexham English Bible, which bases its Old Testament on the Biblia Hebrea Septuagintia, which is an edition of the Leningrad Codex with critical notes and marking different readings from other manuscripts. Take care.